Hello there. Welcome to Speaking of Business. I'm your host, Nancy Boyle. And today we're going to be talking about some resources that are available to you, whether you own a business currently or whether you're getting ready to start one. So joining me on the first half of our show today is Kevin Monahan with the Small Business Development Center at UNF. So welcome, Kevin.
Pleasure to be here, Nancy. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the SBDC. You know, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do there, and then we can get into some of the programs and tools that are available for folks.
Well, the SBDC is an organization that's funded by the Small Business Administration. It is nationwide and almost always university-based. Sometimes it's with a community college, but it's always an institution of learning that matches that. And the intent is to provide assets to people who are either thinking of going into business, in business, or actually quite large and looking to move to the next level, and provide assistance that has an impact on economic development, that is jobs and job creation and expanding the tax base and things like that.
I think there's sort of a misconception out there in the community that the SBDC is really just for people who want to start a business. And you and I both know that that's not true. So why don't you talk a little bit about some of the programs and tools that are available to folks who have already started their business?
Yes.
Kind of the sizes of companies.
Sure. Some of the programs we have are fairly sophisticated, and that really wouldn't be a good match for somebody who's only been in business a year. Of course, it all depends on what they're doing and what scale that they're in business doing. But we have programs like Bid Match, which is a program that helps individuals find out very quickly what opportunities there are in procurement or doing business with the government.
Okay.
That would be an example, and that wouldn't necessarily be for a startup.
Okay.
We also have a program called Profit Mastery, where through the tutelage of a consultant, in other words, a person like me who works individually with the businesses, we'll take them through a series of things to completely transform their thinking about how they do their finances and how they keep their books and things like that, and be able to use it as a tool to assist their growth and not just be some kind of a burden for record keeping. So those are two examples of that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, and I think that Profit Mastery program is really important because, and of course I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but it just seems that when the clients come in, they know how to make the widget. They might even know how to sell the widget, but where maybe their strengths don't lie is in that whole financial aspect of things.
Yes, that's true. And in the universal statement that can be made about all businesses is that everything has to be done. You can't just market something and forget about keeping the books. You can't just keep the books and the phone won't ring unless somebody's out selling. So everything has to be done. Whether you're wearing all the hats or you're hiring people or you're outsourcing it, either way it's got to be done. You might as well try to get good at everything because it's in your best interest to do so. And that's what Profit Mastery does on the financial end.
Okay. Now, I know that SBDC has worked with some kind of sizable clients.
Sure.
So maybe you could talk a little bit about that and maybe some of the parameters that that they might fall into.
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, we've worked with firms with $15 million in sales annually. We've also worked with some fairly large nonprofit organizations. Another misconception is that we don't work with nonprofits, and we certainly do. And so as time goes on, those companies being more sophisticated and hopefully in a continued growth mode, require more sophisticated tools. And so what we try to do, other than provide the value of the consultant themselves, who has many, many years experience on average at our place, right? And then more sophisticated tools that maybe or maybe not, the business is not aware of it, and we're able to bring it to bear, and they find out an asset. So one that comes to mind for marketing is Reference USA, which gives concise data about the market. There's other programs that could provide them with financials to private companies so they can see exactly where they stack up in the industry, versus their own income. And all these things are built to give them that little extra push, because no matter what kind of business you have, there's a period where either the owners or management team or whatever, they're kind of stuck. They're kind of just leveling out. And how do we get to the next level? And I think that's a role that we provide rather well. So 70% of my current caseload of businesses are not startups. They're more advanced businesses.
Okay. So what are some of the other programs that might be available? I mean, I guess I'm really kind of thinking internationally. you know, it's one thing your market is here. Well, it's a global economy, and you have to kind of maybe think outside Jacksonville.
And we're you know, because we're Jacksonville and because we're a logistics city now, because of where we're strategically located and the things that can be brought to bear with logistics, we have the privilege of having on staff a really, really talented international trade specialist, which is Katie Arroyo. One of the programs she has is taking a company that has been around a while that is trying to break into more sales and maybe should be looking at a country that they're not currently looking at right now. And so Katie has the ability to do in-depth research and make a presentation. So for example, saying that a company here in Jacksonville that has never been to Africa before may want to consider South Africa, and here's why. And so it's a very valuable thing. It's worth quite a few $1,000s if you were to have an independent consultant do that. But what's in it for us? Well, we have a more profitable company in Jacksonville that hires more people and grows.
Well, and I think, you know, depending on who you talk to, we've kind of come out of the recession, but I think during tough times is when you start looking at your business and what you're doing right and what maybe you're spending a lot of time on that's not very productive. And I know you talked about bid match, but I think there's more to that whole government contracting thing, which is an area that a lot of businesses never even considered.
Well, just like export, I think there's a lot of people who feel that the only market that matters is the United States. And there's no running away from the fact that the world is changing and that the world is a market. It's not just the United States. Also, I mean, having done this for so many years, I know that when I work with companies, those that have an exporting phase, they're helping themselves out. So if there's a recession going on here, people are buying overseas and vice versa. And so you're always kind of balancing your own revenues by doing that kind of thing. Procurement's very similar to that too. If somebody hasn't considered doing business with the government, it is not nearly as difficult as people may tell you and can be a game changer for the organization. This may surprise you, but the Department of Defense buys a lot of stuff.
Oh, they certainly do. So let me ask you this. You know, you've been dealing with a wide variety of clients and a lot of nonprofit organizations. Are there some common challenges that you've run across in the last year or so that...
Well, I think one of the ones that's always been around, it doesn't matter whether we're in a recession, out of recession, whatever, is it's lonely at the top. If you're running a business or running a nonprofit, that can be a little lonely. You can't necessarily bare your soul to the rest of staff.
Yeah.
And so we serve as a real proper and private and confidential sounding board to these people, and I think we're valued because of that. Not only the experience that we have, but the fact that you can come and tell us, maybe it's like a confessional, I don't know.
Probably.
But you know, I think it is therapeutic for these folks to be able to do that and then have us objectively look at that situation and tell them what we think of that or what we've seen before with other people in a similar circumstance.
Well, and I think too, you know, like you said, being able to bare your soul, if you will, in a non-threatening environment. Sometimes you're so immersed in this that you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yes, or you're the kind of person who will not stop and ask for directions, right? So
Well, there's
you can get in a lot of trouble for that.
Now, SBDC has just won a contract called from Scale Up America.
Yes.
Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well, we're very excited about that. Scale Up, it was a highly competitive, over 60 entities competed for the Scale Up program, and there were only 8 awarded in the United States. And Jacksonville managed to get one through UNF and our participation. Scale Up addresses the sweet spot of where some businesses just fail to get help at a really important period in their existence. In this particular case, it's companies that have been around for 3 years, that have annual revenues between $150,000 and $500,000, and are really looking for growth. If they want to maintain the status quo, we might not be the right match for that. And so what would happen is if they fill out an application, which they can get at scaleupnorthflorida.com, scaleupnorthflorida.com, and fill out the application and meet the criteria. And we also want to pledge that they are interested in growth. They will, if selected, be able to join one of 2 cohorts of 25 companies that are on the same boat.
Okay.
Learn for each other, interact with each other. They'll be provided about 24 hours of solid coursework to help lift them up to the next level. And then we're going to do an assessment on each company, all confidential, all private.
Right.
And if they need further consultative services above and beyond our capacity to serve, we will provide it at no cost. So that's amazing.
So what are the criteria? I mean, if I'm sitting out in the audience and I think, oh, that sounds cool, I want in.
Okay, if you want in, then I need you to be a business that's been around 3 years,
Okay.
that has annual revenues between 150 and 500K,
Okay.
and a commitment to grow. It's just
Okay.
that simple as that.
And is there any cost to the business?
No.
Phew,
In fact, they're really getting a lot for no cost.
I would guess so.
But it's going to be competitive, and so they need to get on this thing. Our first cohorts are probably going to start in mid-January. So again, go to that website that I previously mentioned and fill out an application. It's in your best interest to do so.
Okay, let's give the website real quick again.
Scale Up, SCALEUP, North, NORTH, Florida.com.
Okay, good. Any other words of wisdom for our people in our audience?
Everything's getting better out there. You know, I was listening to an economist on the radio the other day who informed me that the recession was over in 2009. It didn't feel like that to me. But I am finding, by and large, that all of my client companies are doing much better and are in a growth mode, and I'm very excited about that.
Well, excellent. Kevin, thank you for being here with us today. And you in the audience, don't go away, because we're going to be kind of focusing in on getting your business started. But if you do have questions or thoughts, you can visit the SBDC website at www.sbdc.unf.edu. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Take out the trash, please. Thank you.
Thanks, but she didn't mean for you to do that.
No big deal.
Scouting, helping fulfill your dreams for him.
Thanks, but she didn't mean for you to do that.
No big deal.
Hello there. Welcome back to Speaking of Business. Again, I'm your host, Nancy Boyle. Now we're going to change the focus of our show. We're going to be talking about starting a business. And joining me are Yash Nath with iStartJax, Isabel Killian with Ta-da! Language, and Jonathan Rady with RZI International. I got that right?
Yes.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Yash, I'm going to start with you. Actually, I'm going to let each of you tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll kind of get into the whole startup weekend, et cetera.
Thank you, Nancy. I am CEO and President of iStartJax. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. It's a business accelerator. We have been in existence for the past 3 years, and we are trying to help the local entrepreneurs to thrive within the community and bringing in resources to help them, accomplish what they're trying to do.
Okay. Isabel?
Yes,
Tell us
I'm-
about Ta-da!
Right. I'm Isabel Killian, founder of TadaLanguage.com. It's an online tool helping parents learn and practice a language with their family.
Okay.
Right.
Now elaborate on that.
Speaking French to my kids in Publix, I was quite often stopped by other parents asking me to do the same for their children and go to their home on the weekend, which I did to a certain extent, but then I realized it was only one of me, and I decided to create a self-sufficient tool online to help parents, remember what they've learned at school, which they had all forgotten, and practice it with their children while they're emptying the dishwasher, making the bed, going grocery shopping, going biking, all of these little practical moments of the day that are actually extremely good to practice a language and bond.
That's a great idea.
Thank you very much.
Jonathan, tell us about RZI.
Okay, well, first, I'm a board advisor with iStartJax.
Okay.
I'm very excited to join them this year. RZI is my own company. RZI International is a supply chain management and international trade company. We both import and export products from the United States. Our trading partner is primarily China.
Okay.
My background is actually in China, and I speak Chinese, so one of the exciting things we were talking about here with the panel was how many different languages are covered here. So I think that
Yes.
TADA is a great new program and a business to enter our community. So it's a very exciting development and something that came out of iStartJax as well.
Well, and I think I think it's a great thing. I took French and Spanish in high school, and I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was, but I had to participate on a panel for a workshop, and it was all in Spanish. So I was at a disadvantage because I had not kept up any of those language skills to present info. I mean, it was only 15 minutes. It wasn't a big deal, but I had to have somebody translate. So I think it's wonderful to have these tools where kids can become multilingual.
Right.
So, but I want to go back to you, Yash, if I can. Let's start with the Startup Weekend, because there's probably folks in the audience who are thinking, gosh, I'd like to start a business someday. And in this Startup Weekend, this is the third or the fourth?
This will be the fourth one.
The fourth one. So let's talk a little bit about what it entails and kind of go from there.
Sure. So Startup Weekend is a global phenomena, and basically, if we relate it to our community, think of it like if you have a business idea, or if you have a particular skill set. It could be in marketing, it could be in technology, it could be a legal aspect of it, or any other areas you believe you have a skill. Startup Weekend is for you, and this is why and how you can tap on the experiences. So here, if you have a business idea, you come and pitch your idea, right? And among the participants, some of you may have the technology or the technical skills to create that product or service. Some of you may have the marketing experience, how to market the product or service. Some of you may be may have the legal experience to help the startup navigate through. So every skill set has a place during the Startup Weekend. The way it works is, you come in on a Friday evening. This is a 54-hour program. You come in on a Friday evening, you listen to the pitches, you get to evaluate whose ideas you believe can make it to the next level. It's all among the participants. You vote for those ideas, and the ideas which get tabulated higher than the others, so they get to form teams, and that is how they go to the next level. Once the teams are formed, it is entirely among the participant and the idea owner. So once the team is formed, you then define who will do which aspect of the product, service, marketing, and all of those things, all within 54 hours. So on Friday, pitching of an idea, starting a team or forming a team. On Saturday, you are working on your product or service. You are going out in the market, or let's say, a lot of people have gone to town center to do customer validation. A lot of people have used technology to reach out to hundreds and millions of users, potential users, expressing what they're trying to do and getting instant feedback. All of that, they are sharing with the mentors. We have a vast network of mentors. These are people who are successful within our local, community, and they are helping these potential startup founders succeed. So they are volunteering their time, and we are really grateful for that. So all of that is happening on a Saturday. On Sunday, they continue to do that till, let's say, mid-Sunday.
Okay.
And then on Sunday evening around 6 o'clock is when each team gets 5 minutes to pitch the business model in front of a panel of judges. So that is, in a sense, I know it's a very fast-paced, but it's really exciting to see how teams come together and end up creating, a business out of it.
Now, how many teams typically wind up doing the Sunday evening presentation?
On average, for the past 3 years, we have seen that there are roughly 15 to 16 teams who actually pitch. Each get 5 minutes to pitch their ideas. On Friday, we have seen all the way up to 60 to 70 ideas being pitched, and that ends up into 16, 17 teams, and that's how they continue. What we do say is, if you are really passionate about your idea, and for some reason, you did not get enough votes, you can still, if you're really passionate about it, as long as you have two person who is behind the idea, you can still pursue it, because we don't want anyone to walk out of the program. The experience itself is going to help them navigate even out once they go outside the program.
Okay. Isabel, I want to come to you because you're a product of Startup Weekend.
Absolutely.
So what year did you pitch your idea?
The very first year.
Okay.
The very first year, so I had no idea what I was getting into. And honestly, this was a life-transforming experience. What I want to tell to all the moms out there, and the dads, of course, but the dads are more, I think, ready to do something like this, go after an idea and start a business. But I think a lot of moms who, as I was, have a day job and kids at home, think, first I can't even think of starting a business. It's going to be too time involving, and I'm just a mom. No,
Just a mom.
Right, I'm just a mom. No, iStar Jax is bringing the mentors and their knowledge to help you get a boost to start, give you the confidence that, hey, why not me? And also they have these boot camps afterwards. So it's not just a boost or a validation of your idea, is support after the event. So honestly, dads, moms, anybody out there who has an idea, would like to change the world or change your life, go for it, register, and whether you win or not is not the issue. What you're going to bring back home is a brand new network of like-minded entrepreneurs like you who will stay in touch with you. And God knows that I have kept in touch through the boot camps with these entrepreneurs, and they've helped me. They contacted me. We are now a tight community. So this is really a start, and it would be silly to just sit on an idea for the rest of your life when, had I not gone to Startup Weekend, I could still have, Tata language on a back burner.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
this is
let's go
positive.
ahead and walk us through. Here you are, it's the first Startup Weekend. You somehow found out about this thing. You showed up at this place at, about 6 o'clock on Friday?
Right.
6
Okay,
o'clock,
so you
yes.
walk in the door, there you are, there's all these people there, you have no clue what to expect. So
Right.
just kind of quickly give us a tour through that weekend.
A tour, yeah. So it's a little bit what Yash said. You arrive, and one of the things that I like is that you are guided progressively through the steps. You don't have to know how to go about this event. You are going to be told, now you're going to write your idea on a Post-it, you're going to go put it on the board, or, there are certain things I don't remember, it was a while back, but go and pitch your idea. Maybe, an advice I would tell people is that the pitching to people who are not used to talking on a microphone is maybe something you want to rehearse in your bathroom. You want to talk loud and enunciate. There were certain teams that were, telling their idea, but we did not understand exactly what it was about. So maybe the one thing you want to come is prepared, talking. I think that my accent and the fact that I was very nervous also made a lot of people not understand what Tata language was going to be about. But then, some technical and non-technical participants came and joined me and said, we think that's a good idea. We'd like to help you put your pitch deck together. So we sat down at UNF at tables, and we really worked very hard at putting that pitch deck together, which I had started, so it was not from scratch, but they helped me make it better. And we worked like this non-stop. The great thing is they feed you.
There is sustenance
There's
throughout
great
the
food,
weekend.
by the way. So that's part of what you pay for.
Yeah.
You pay to have real meals, really real good food. So you're fed, but you have to do the work. And this goes on, as Yash said, for about 54 hours. And then 6 p.m., I guess, on Sunday, I was nervous, so nervous. I was a wreck. I mean, I could not even eat my wonderful dinner. So I was the last participant. They called me. I'm the very, very last one. And I'm so tired and I'm shaking. But if you believe in your idea, all your strength comes back. And so, I convinced the jury that this was a business model that could work out. And I was very happy to be part of the winners. But once again, I could feel that what I had won was an education, a community, and also mentors that some of them I did stay in touch with. So a very valuable experience.
Well, it sure
Excellent.
seems that you may not have been able to finish that last meal, but you were able to digest all of the lessons and the tools and
Right.
ideas that were provided during the startup weekend. So that's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. I went there very humble. And despite the fact that I thought I knew a lot of things, when mentors or organizers would tell me, well, do it this way or you should say it that way, I really, really was very humble and I took in. And I think that's really the best way to go there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Jonathan, I don't want to leave you out. And you're a new board member at iStart Jax,
Yes, I just joined this year.
Okay, and there's a new program this year, correct?
That's right.
Called eMindset.
That's right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that program?
I'd love to. eMindset is exactly about the mindset. So when we look at entrepreneurship typically is thought of about new company startups, new business startups, product launches, etc. eMindset is focused more on the educational aspect in creating and fostering a creative, innovative thinking and a way of approaching ideas. So it's not just about business, it's about life, it's about problem solving, overcoming adversity. This year's program was initiated with students from Andrew Jackson High School here in Duval County Public Schools. And I believe there's originally 23 young people who started out, all high school students, over 5 weekends. And they were provided a training program that covered 8 different principles of entrepreneurship. Yash here was the Kauffman Foundation. I think you're the certified facilitator for the training program. And he did a great job of leading these students through the entire program. eMindset, again, is really about fostering an idea or a mindset. So, how do you approach a problem? How do you solve a problem? It's not just about business. It's something that can be applied into anybody who is entering the workforce, be it for-profit or nonprofit, so that if you're looking at young people and trying to create and foment an environment where they can really go out and attack problems and think very creatively, that's the real goal of eMindset.
Sounds like a great program.
It was a fantastic program. I was very fortunate to be able to attend the final ceremony. So out of these 23, 24 students, there were several finalists, and I was able to attend some of the presentations. And these were young people coming from a school on the north side of Jacksonville who really didn't have a lot of exposure to entrepreneurship in the more of this kind of flashy sense. I mean, some of their parents are going to be entrepreneurs in more of a traditional sense. But they had to come up and think from start to finish about product ideas, product launches, the skills that are going to be required, and all of the tools that are going to be required to deliver those products. One young man took a product he was familiar with, earbuds, and thought about, I think, maybe 3 or 4 great innovations, how to make them more robust, how to make them waterproof, how to provide a higher performance product through that. Another young lady provided a presentation on a educational delivery or a curriculum development delivery package that was all online. They were very innovative. But the real lesson there, again, is about fostering the mindset, how to overcome adversity. I mean, Yash can certainly jump in and provide a lot more details in the program.
Right.
You got to know some of these young people.
I would just like to add that this year we actually brought in a couple of local entrepreneurs. One of them was running a fitness gym, and she shared her experience, how she overcame adversity. The other woman also was, talked about how she developed the photography business. More than this, I actually had a 5th grader who came and shared how she and her friends actually went through the business model, what we worked through the startup. They implemented it without realizing that they actually created a business. So a lot of positives came out of this program.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. Unfortunately, we're out of time. So I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you and the audience for joining us. If you want more information on Startup Weekend, you can go to istartjax.com and get all the information there. So thank you for joining us today, and come back next time when we'll be speaking of business. Bye.
You're watching Public Access on Xfinity 99, exclusive programming for Jacksonville Xfinity subscribers.